Okay.
Now, I mean, Alan, we're live. Okay, that's for the time codes. Okay, so here's the deal.
Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, welcome back
Great.
because we had some issues, and the stream stopped. We're not sure why, but we got reports on the comments. Anyways, something screwed up, and it's ironic because our next topic is involving a similar situation that was not pre-announced. Okay, so I think they're trolling us, Alan, because
I think
the planned
they're-
YouTube outage is exactly at the start of our Android week, and this weird outage tonight was right in the middle of Google Plus week. So I think obviously I'm persona non grata now.
I think they're trying to shut us down, Dan. But
They're trying to kill the
we
man.
will fight on.
It's because we were talking about Vic earlier.
It must
Probably.
be.
Well, to be honest, I was trolling them pretty heavy during the first half of the show.
Yeah, but you're always trolling them pretty heavy. So that's really.
This was even a little bit heavy for me. I mean, I really was pretty much saying that Google Plus was, down the tubes. Not good to say on Google Plus. Yeah, I shouldn't. Be
Now, what
saying
snacks are you eating before we get into this YouTube thing?
that. I'm eating some raisins, some almonds, some pistachios, and a couple of pretzels.
All from Costco, probably.
Yes, all these things. No, not the pretzels.
And Dan, we have this comment from Kadeus. Since we're technically starting a new show, why don't we go ahead and reset that show clock and start the 4-hour run beginning at the start of this show?
We can do that. We can do that.
No.
Hey, everybody, welcome to Google Plus Week. Bam.
This is not the way that we're going to make it even a longer running show than we ever have before.
I could do that. I just hit the intro again.
This
You
could
can
be
do
the
that,
world's
sure, but I'll
longest.
disappear at midnight.
This could be the world's longest Google Plus week.
In pieces. Because actually, YouTube Live can stream for 36 hours straight before you have to reset. But it'll only record the first 4 hours.
Yeah, we can tell how well that worked out the last show.
I think Google is on Windows servers, I think. Microsoft servers.
So the next topic that we have covering is mostly intended as a public service announcement for everybody who may do anything involving YouTube on Monday night, which pretty much boils down to anybody who's trying to do a YouTube Live or trying to upload video or do a Hangout on Air type thing. There's going to be some scheduled maintenance Monday night. Now, why they can't schedule this at a time that's convenient for most of their users, I don't know. But YouTube will undergo maintenance from 6 p.m. till midnight Pacific. During this time, you may not be able to initiate or end a Hangout on Air broadcast. Commenting and subscribing may also be impacted. That's even assuming that commenting isn't impacted now. Additionally, Hangout on Air video recordings may take longer than usual to process and become available. Please try to plan your Hangout on Air schedule around this time period to avoid complications.
So this is saying that regular Hangouts should be okay?
Regular Hangouts should be fine because they don't touch YouTube. This is technically a YouTube scheduled maintenance period.
So,
This is
Alan,
not
this
a-
is
a
my
Hangout
theory.
Maintenance period.
This is my theory. There was a conversation. What time did Dan and Alan and Nate and Bruce do that ghetto ass Android show? It's Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Well, the Hooping Live
Let's
show.
do it then.
The
That's what
Hooping
they're
Live
doing.
show.
See, they're trying to crack down on your kind of what you call entertainment, Mr. Ship.
Yeah, the Hooping Live show is at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific.
Can I say your first name?
Sure.
Pam, are you still here?
She had to step away, Dan.
Guess what Craig's real first name is? It's Ralph. Ralph Craig Ship. I like it.
Yep. There you go. All 5-letter words.
That's a good German name. Should be happy.
Well, my dad's same name, and
Except-
I go by Craig. I went by Craig because we weren't to be confused, and just kind of continued that. But I don't mind the name.
Are you technically Ralph Craig Ship Jr.?
No, he's Earl, Ralph Earl.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Like Earl K. Long. In many ways.
E-A-R-L.
In many ways. All right, so YouTube will be down Monday night. So, Alan, I don't know what we're going to do. We should postpone till Tuesday, right?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I don't want to do it early because that'll screw Nate up because he's West Coast, East Coast, West Coast, and I don't know if they're going to start early or end late. You know what I mean? So I think we're gonna have to. We'll figure it out. We'll announce something. So okay, cool. So that happened. Apparently we're still streaming, and I don't even have the doc up. So what's next, Alan? I sound like I'm going to be Martin Sheen. What's next?
Next up on our agenda is we were talking about how Chromebooks are getting an improved integration package with Google Plus Photos. And what this is when the Pixel came out, it came out with a little photo tool, sort of, that would enable you so that when you plugged in an SD card, it would do what Android phones do, and that's upload all of the photos automatically to Google Plus Auto Backup. And it lets you do some previews of the photos and do some other nifty things. The problem is it was only available for the Pixel for a long time, and they have now just released the version that will work on all of the other Chromebooks. So I don't suppose there's any... Anthony, I know you're a bit of a photographer. What are your thoughts on actual better integration with Google Plus Photos?
Did you just say that I'm a photographer?
Yes, we know you're there with your designer cameras and all.
Yeah, I think you're talking about Michael Banks.
Yeah, you look so much alike. No, seriously, this is... I don't know, how much... Am I the only one in this hangout tonight that uses Google Plus Photos? Sounds like I am.
Well, I
use
mean,
it
all of
with
us
Photos.
have our...
Picasa. I use Picasa, and then I share from Picasa web albums to Google Plus. Does that count?
No, because you're actually cheating.
Okay.
You're doing it the right way, but you're cheating. Michael, what was your comment?
I use Google Plus Photos. It's the only thing I use.
Okay. Really?
Yeah,
And you don't
I mean-
want to strangle somebody?
a little bit, but I cope with it because I really like the auto backup feature, which I liked better when they called it instant upload, but whatever. And nothing of the function changed. I just like the name better. And I use it, and I'm a little annoyed by the auto awesome thing, which I think is trite.
Well, turn it off.
I don't think it's all that awesome at all.
Go ahead and turn it
And-
off.
I don't know how to. I don't want to have to do that shit. I want them to stop fucking with my stuff.
You see,
Let me turn it on if I want it.
I actually like the auto awesome.
Well,
I think
sorry,
it does a
Dan.
reasonably good job most of the time.
Well, maybe it does, but I just don't want them to add that stuff and then make me have to go figure out how it works so I can turn it off. I don't want them to automatically. When I upload things, I don't want them to only show me the highlights that they've decided are my highlights. If I take photos on my phone, I want to see every one of them so I can decide what to highlight. And I found that it's been difficult to find the right pictures after they upload them for me. It's not intuitive.
Okay.
You're looking at me like I'm an alien or something. These things are too technical. And they make perfect sense to you, but for those of us that don't deal with these things in a technical way every day, they're complicated.
No, I mean, actually, from my non-technical point of view, I'm like, okay, they take my photos, they make them better most of the time. I don't worry about it. In the same way that when I'm trying to take quick pictures on my camera, I don't worry
That's
about
okay.
the white balance that it's doing.
That's okay that they do that. I don't mind that because that's like autofocus on my camera. I'm okay with that. Where I get disturbed is that when I go look online, I get a notification that say there's new things that have been uploaded, and I go look, and it shows me 2 pictures, and I know I uploaded 10. I want to see all of them immediately. I don't want them to hand pick which ones I don't get to see. I want to see them all.
And, I agree with that on some level. I mean, one of the things I do kind of like that they do try to do that. My biggest problem is that in order to switch away from that view, it's just a mess.
It's a mess.
The entire Google Plus Photos has got to be one of the worst user interfaces I've ever seen from Google. And that's saying a lot, given how much we've criticized Google's user interfaces recently.
Except maybe managing circles, which really sucks.
No, I
But
think
anyway.
Photos is. I mean, Circles is at least straightforward, mostly. Photos management is just a total mess. It's totally inconsistent from one screen to another. It makes no sense. It's really just an utter Charlie Foxtrot.
And I still want to use it because I'm happy with the overall capability, but I want them to fix the things that aren't right.
Now, are we talking about this total success that is Google Plus that was to earn Vic a promotion to run all of Microsoft companies? This is what we're been talking about here the last 3 minutes.
I believe what we also
Oh
said
my
was
God,
that Microsoft,
that's
it would
the
be a
best
step
troll
up for
comment ever,
Microsoft.
I think.
I just want to make sure.
We have some good comments from Kevin. I use Google Plus Photos and I appreciate the auto settings. I want Google to choose the best photos because I'm never going to get around to picking photos on my own. And I very much agree with that. I mean, I will upload literally 1,000 photos at a time. And
Wow.
I saw Pam's eyes bug out on that one too. You know,
What do you take pictures of? 1,000 photos.
I don't want to know what he takes pictures of.
all of that stuff,
Pam,
Pam,
come on.
all of that stuff, I don't upload to Google Plus. No, but you know, or I
Some of you have, Alan, that one crazy picture of you in the shower. I don't know what the hell that was about.
What?
You don't remember this, Pam? We're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about it right now.
Let's not go
Pam hasn't
there.
seen that one.
Could you
How'd that
reenact
come
it for us,
about?
Alan?
You've got my email. You can send that picture to me anytime.
If we want to discuss the photo, we'll discuss the photo again.
All right, so you're a big.
But
we all
let me-
agree that
but-
Google Plus Photos is by far the best photo experience that's ever been created.
It's auto awesome.
We also had this question from Cadeus asking if I still use my Pixel. I do still use my Pixel. I use it daily. In fact, I program with it. My biggest problem with it when it comes to photos is its photo management system sucks. It's got a beautiful display, and I can't edit my photos on it easily.
And they just enhanced it for Pixel only.
Well, I mean,
Photo management.
Alan,
it does.
the
It never had
editor-
photo management is the problem. It
The
had
editor-
photo upload, but not management.
have you tried the web-based editor for Flickr?
I haven't. I've never used Flickr.
It's actually not bad for just basic edits. You know, a little bit of exposure, a little bit of adding some contrast, you know, some basic things. It's pretty quick, and it works. It does a good job, and you can save the edited photo as a new photo or replace the existing one.
Okay, I need to share this one. This comment that we just got in. I talk about how I upload hundreds of photos, hundreds of thousands of photos, and we have this comment from my father criticizing me that although I may upload thousands of photos, I don't share any of them. And that's right, I don't. And the reason is I like to do tweaks and edits, and I need to go through the photos that I upload, and Google's photo management system sucks. It isn't just photo editing, and that's an issue, but their photo management system sucks.
Yeah, I agree.
I keep saying they should look at the way Flickr does it. It's a beautiful system. It
Well,
works.
Let me ask you, do you really think, Craig, would it work for me uploading thousands of photos and then going through them and selecting which ones I actually want to publish?
Yeah, because the way Flickr works, it's like a database. I mean, you upload the photos, and then you go into your organized section, and then you can take and drag photos up into your work area there and create sets out of them. So let's say,
Drag? No. Craig, forget it. You've already lost me. That's already utterly, totally useless.
well, I mean,
Utterly and totally useless, Craig. If
It
I need to
works.
start dragging if I'm going through 1,000 photos, what I need to do is look at a photo and mark it as whether I want to keep it and which album I want it to go into later.
well,
And if I can't do that in less than a second,
Alan,
useless,
not really
totally
good.
useless.
okay, so really, I hate to tell you, but you should be doing that with a program on your local computer and then uploading. You shouldn't just upload en masse all the photos.
that
You should
requires
call them.
Windows
You should
then.
call the photos first to the decent photos, then upload those, and
Why?
then once you get them up online,
Yeah.
then organize them into sets, tag them with various tags.
But
and whatever you wanna do.
Craig, I've got I've got this device, which automatically uploads them.
Right.
Okay. I've got this device, which automatically uploads. You think I'm going to go through this thing? Go through
Yeah.
hundreds of photos on this thing and pick which ones
See,
I
that
want?
whole automatic uploading thing, that's a fail right from Jump Street, because the last thing I want to do is have all the photos that I take at an event automatically uploaded.
No, that's
Because
exactly what you
If
want.
somebody bombs my photo, walks in front or does something or whatever, I mean, I just want to delete that puppy. I don't even want it.
Then you delete it.
But no, I want to do it on my local machine.
Then you do it on your local machine and it gets echoed.
I want them to be backed up automatically instantly.
I want everything safely backed up. I'm with Michael. Because
Right.
even photo bombs are good on occasion. No, seriously.
Sometimes they're fun.
Well, I mean, I can keep them if I want to, but I don't know about that workflow of doing all your work on the photos up online. I would much rather go through and do the initial editing and cropping and all of those kinds of things on my local machine, and then upload the ones that I choose to upload. And then, of course, I back up everything. I don't delete anything off my cards in the camera until everything is secure on my computer and then backed up to at least 2 external hard drives and then uploaded to various places online. Then I delete them off the card from the camera. So I'm not going to lose any photos doing this way.
And I might even almost agree with that, Craig, the fact that I should be doing my managing local on the machine. But they didn't give me the management software local on my machine either. And that's what that's my criticism of the
So
Pixel.
they don't have like Picasa available anymore for the local machine? I used to run it on my Windows machine. They had a Picasa
I'm not
local-
using Windows, Craig. We're talking on my Pixel.
So they don't have Picasa for Pixel?
No.
Well, then they should come out with that. That was a
Yes,
great
they should. And that's why, and that's kind of what I expected this program to be, but it's not it.
Yeah, and it was a great program. It really was. Before I started using iPhoto, back in the day, I used Picasa all the time. Picasa 3, I think, was the version. I used it all the time for managing photos. It was great.
Okay, so we're good on
We
the
all
Chrome
agree.
Pixel for all of our viewers who have a Chrome Pixel and their improved photo experience.
Okay, so next up,
I want to talk about
We're,
the Chromecast and Best Buy, but I got a quick question for Anthony. Anthony Klauser. I've got to go to I've got to drive. I'm doing this crazy thing to try to fix my catalytic converter by pouring something in my gas tank, and I have to drive a long distance. So I'm going to go to a Wegmans. If I go to Wegmans, I think I asked you this. I can't remember your answer. If I go to Wegmans in Chantilly, they've got the buffet and they've got a bunch of Indian food on there. Is that like good stuff? Is it a bag they get in a truck and they open, or is it like there's some Indian dude cooking stuff? You know what I mean?
I mean, most of it's coming in frozen.
Okay.
I don't know if I should have said that on air, but yeah, I would say.
So there's not like, Rajneesh is in the back with his
But you know what? Who the hell cares, right? If you like it,
Is it good? I mean, it's like $10 a pound or something,
you've had it, right?
No, I haven't. That's what I'm saying. I got to find a distance. I got to drive somewhere. I'm supposed to drive 150 miles at high speed. So I got to get on the interstate and go somewhere.
No, but you've had the rockery stuff at a different store, right?
I've never eaten Indian food at Wegmans. I've never eaten any of their hot food.
Oh, the Indian. Regardless, yeah. I mean, if you like the stuff on the rockery bar, then you're gonna. If you like Indian food, then I'd say you're gonna like it.
All right, so the scam has been exposed. All right, big letdown. All right, so I'll still do it anyway. I'll probably eat it anyway. All right, so I discovered, or I saw some posts today about that the Chromecast has reappeared at some Best Buy stores. Here's my Chromecast. Craig Ship doesn't have one of these, so I'm going to show this so Craig can see what it looks like. Because he sat on the fence, even though he makes a tremendous
Is yours
fortune.
still in the box?
No. Actually, it is in the box because my neighbor asked to borrow it because she had to babysit
Yeah,
for a
most
couple
of them are
days.
either in the box for whatever reason, or they're in a drawer. This is where we find most
So
of
they
them.
won't
Okay,
get
Craig.
dusty.
Craig, usually you criticize others when they make total unasserted statements like that. Apple is awesome. Google will crash and burn in a flaming death.
Those are good. Do some more Craig Ship impersonations, Alan.
Okay, Anthony, where's your Chromecast? Tell us the truth.
You're such a fucking troll.
Why would I have a Chromecast? I
There
have
we go,
50,000
an old man.
devices that do.
All right, so anyway,
Man, he said, why would I have one of those things?
Chromecast is so. What's interesting though is that we did this big thing that the Netflix thing ended after an hour or whatever, but here we go, and here's the Netflix promo still listed on Best Buy's site. 3 months of Netflix streaming. See how, and then it'll tell you after ordering you'll receive a second email. Blah blah blah, and. I'm looking in my local stores and I see Frederick, Maryland is out. It's unavailable. But I see in Hagerstown, Maryland. So, Craig, I don't know how far it is a drive for you, Craig.
That's
go-
just over the mountain. It's not that far.
Yeah, so Hagerstown, Maryland, Best Buy has one. You'd obviously want to call first to make sure. But I see most of these have unavailable. But Martinsburg, West Virginia, and Winchester, Virginia, they both have a Chromecast in stock again. So, there you go. This is
It's going to be one of those things that after 6 months or so we won't even hear anything about Chromecast again. They'll just be like, what's that?
You know what though, Craig? I was thinking this would be a way, like, for us to do a slideshow, to have a TV in a location, and have a Chromecast hooked into the HDMI port, and then have like client slides coming from some sort of cheap computer that you would just use for that purpose. So anyway, if you're looking for a Chromecast and you don't want to wait till October, then
Now, I don't know
look
anything
online
about
in your
these,
Best Buys.
I don't know anything about these smart TVs, but if you buy one of these newer smart TVs that has a USB on the back, and let's say, for example, you had a flash drive, and you just put a whole bunch of photos on that flash drive, can you plug that into that USB, and that TV will see those,
yes.
and you can just run a slideshow?
Yes.
Which means what would you need the Chromecast for? This way you don't need a computer. You just plug in the
you could
flash
buy
drive and
I'm still trying to figure out why anyone would need a Chromecast if they've
Exactly.
got a TV, the internet.
if you have a beautiful 50-inch plasma TV or LED or LCD TV in your living room, and it doesn't have any internet connectivity, it doesn't have smart apps, or it has smart apps but you don't have internet connectivity run to it, then you can plug the Chromecast and you can watch Netflix or YouTube videos or
most people
on that television.
Here's the deal. Most people either don't want to do that. In other words, they want to sit in the living room and watch football, right? Or American Idol or some show.
Craig, actually, that's a great point.
Or
People-
let me finish, Alan. Or it's the folks like us that already have a Roku box or an Apple TV or whatever, and have various ways of watching Netflix and Amazon Instant and these other things, and some of which are buying the Chromecast, like Leo Laporte bought 5 of them because he can, and then, like I say, they'll be in drawers or whatever 6 months.
Then why are they
Go ahead, Alan.
sold out, Craig? Why are they
He
sold
just
out
told
if
you
they
why.
suck?
First of all, I don't think they made very many of them. That's A. And B,
because they're only $35.
it was $35, and it was a huge firestorm among the techie group.
You
and all
can
these techies
upgrade
ran
any
out and bought
you
5
can
of them.
upgrade any television that has an HDMI port to be a smart TV. I mean,
Aren't most of
to-
the
to
TVs
watch
that have
Netflix.
HDMI port already going to be a smart TV? Isn't that the point?
no. I mean now. I mean, like yeah,
Most
but
of the
like
modern TVs are already smart TVs now, right?
there's millions of them in consumers' homes now.
The old ones, the older ones.
Yeah,
That aren't
that
smart.
still have HDMI ports
Those
that
are
don't
probably
have the
people
apps.
that are happy to watch,
Or you've
Modern
got
Housewives or whatever.
or you've got the tube TV like I do behind me.
Oh my God, Pam, are you serious? Is that a prop or that's an actual functioning television? Does it have a VHS player next to
No,
it?
it's a real TV.
Holy
Huh?
shit! Does it have a
What do you mean
VHS?
it doesn't have
It's
a
like
VHS
100
player?
pounds.
You don't have VHS tapes?
Oh my God!
I do have VHS tapes.
No, I'm asking Dan.
Oh.
I don't have frozen Indian food either. No, I mean I have. I mean I possess VHS tapes in storage somewhere. I imagine. I don't
You
like
have
frequently
storage?
use them.
You live in a huge house by yourself. Why would you need storage? Are you a hoarder?
Oh my God! This is getting. Leave Brittany alone. All right. So anyway, Craig is going to go to Hagerstown, Maryland tomorrow and buy a Chromecast, and
Yeah,
apologize next week for any disparaging comments or even any comments that may have been misconstrued as disparaging.
Hey,
About
you're the one that
Chromecast.
has to drive 140 miles. Why don't you go to the Best Buy in Hagerstown?
I should
Maryland,
drive
and
it
get
to him and
one?
record it and make some sort of viral video. Maybe we can do the. What's the thing they did with the motorcycle helmet?
Road trip to Best Buy. You and Craig.
Oh my God. We could dress up in khaki pants and blue polos. All right. So, do we have another topic, Alan? Because obviously this one has run its course.
Oh, I don't know. We probably do.
Gurgle. Google search definitions now have more info. Now, this is a ratings bonanza. I know this is. We've been teasing this all night. This topic, and
Look, you don't like it? We'll strike it. Fine.
no,
Next one.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Go ahead.
You know, Dan, I don't care. Next one. That's fine.
Did I offend you? I was just being funny.
No, not at all.
No, is it a good topic? You put it in there. Well, let's do it.
Okay. If you really want it.
I really want to hear this topic, Alan. Please, don't leave me hanging.
The deal on this one is that, as always, search needs to somehow convince people that they're still relevant in the world. So what they've done is they've now added some features so that if you are doing a definition, for example, you ask Google search to define something. Previously, it would give you the definition. Now it also gives you the etymology of the word. It gives you the history of a word, tells you a little bit more about how to use the word, lets you immediately translate it, gives you some other information about how the word's been used over time. So it can do, some interesting, nifty facts that they have about a word. And this goes back to the concept of Google's trying to add these little additional pieces of knowledge about what it has in the world to the search results directly.
And this is the type of thing that's going to make Google more and more useful to people and more of a tool to, like I say, replace some of the things that they've been getting from other sources. To what's that term, Sherlock, other sources. It's going to be interesting to see really where they're getting all of this data and whether or not they get sued from some people if they're getting data from copyrighted sources. But that's a whole nother issue. But if they're providing these kinds of valuable services to people, and they keep slowly but surely getting better at helping people with everyday things in their life, like if they came out with something that was similar to Evernote, for example, that I use all the time, but it was as powerful as Evernote, and I could just do it all in the Google browser, and it synced with my Google Docs and all that, then I wouldn't have to use Evernote anymore. And so here we wouldn't have to use a dictionary. There's a lot of things we don't have to use. So this is very powerful, I think. I'm glad you left the story in.
I think even, by itself, this may not seem like much, but it's a pointer to, in some ways, how they're integrating their information that they have again. I mean, one of the things they have is a chart showing historical usage of a word. And where are they getting that from? They're getting that from the books that they had scanned over time.
Mm-hmm.
So they're using a lot of, we're seeing now how some of these other projects that they've done that didn't have any obvious reason to exist at the time we're now seeing it incorporated as part here. So it's this tie-in from various aspects of Google again. I think is going to be their benefit. And
Yeah,
Craig, I say this so infrequently. I do have to give you credit tonight. You're right on this one.
Yeah, I mean, if they do things that really help people, at the end of the day, that's what really matters. If people really like this and it helps them, and I think it will help a lot of people, then it's a big plus for them. It's going to get more people into their ecosystem.
He just said it's a big plus. I don't know if you caught
Ooh.
that.
Before we move on to the next subject,
I have a question on this subject. Go ahead, Alan.
no, go ahead. I was going to ask it, Dan. Or do you mean you have a question on the next subject?
No, I have a question on this subject before you move on. But
Then ask.
Okay,
Go.
so it's similar in that the whole point is relevant search results, and Google knows that, right? That's their strength. They produced more relevant search results. They more quickly produced what you wanted.
No,
in
Dan,
the
here's
beginning.
the thing. It's about more than just relevant search results now. And the reason why it is because everyone's producing the same results. So it's about adding value to those relevant search results now.
Well, okay. So speaking of adding value, I saw this is, I guess, a subtopic, or I don't know if it's a new topic, but I heard an announcement that Google Now was going to add listen to my TV, so that as you were watching, like, let's say you're watching the news,
This is actually a subject that we have scheduled for Tuesday night.
Is it? Well, let me go ahead and we'll do a quick preview.
But
is
Dan,
that
wait,
live?
wait.
Because it was. You say what I'm talking about, Craig, is in Google Now you could say listen to my TV, and as you're watching the news, for example, if they say like, they're about to release Hosni Mubarak, or Hernandez was indicted by a grand jury or whatever, as you're watching and listening, Obama was in Buffalo, Google Now would list like Hosni Mubarak, age 80 whatever, Hernandez, age whatever, and born here, and here's his stats, and sort of give you like a play-by-play almost while you're watching the show. I mean, talk about a true second screen. That's, you could be watching anything and it's listening and hearing these names, and immediately popping up Wikipedia info and stuff like that. I think that's incredibly interesting to me. But I've tried it and I can't figure out how it works. I mean, I don't know if it's rolling out or what the deal is there.
Before you get into that, I just want to back you up a second here on the tool that Alan was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're talking about relevant search results and so forth, we're talking about tools here now. We're talking about, sure, if you put in your search and you start spelling a word, right, it'll correct it for you. It'll give you the definition of the word. So it's acting like a dictionary, right? And
Right.
now it's going even further with that as far as information will give you. So, and we already know if we want to convert currency, we can say 375 pounds is whatever dollars, right? And it'll tell us. So it's this becoming more and more of a tool to use for various purposes, not just search, to educate us, to help us with tasks. This is what's huge, and as people learn more about all these tools and the things that Google has to offer, it's more likely that they can rope them into their ecosystem. And then all of a sudden they start using Google Docs, they start using this other tool and so on. And eventually they might get to the point where they say they don't need to use Microsoft Windows anymore, for example. And I'm just happy with all these tools and the way it's all integrated that I'm willing to give up a few things over there to go into this ecosystem.
Yeah, and stuff like this and maps, they're unparalleled. I mean, nobody can touch them. They're not only are they the best product out there, but they're innovating at the most rapid pace.
And if they
like
can
buying
hook
Waze,
people
and
in, if
they're
they
going to
can hook
incorporate
people in,
Waze
people
stuff.
comfortable, that's huge.
And
Yeah.
Dan, that's an excellent segue to the next topic, which talks about the Google Maps and Waze integration.
Well, did you answer my question though? Is that been integrated or
I don't know.
we don't know yet? Because I've tried it. It says tap your mic and say listen to TV, and all it does is when I'm in Google, the app, it just on my Nexus 7 or my Note 2, it
I
just.
don't know, but we'll find out by Tuesday night. How's that?
All right. Okay. So go ahead, Alan. I've
So,
been
What show is that that's on
politely-
Tuesday night, Alan?
I think it's Our Android Week, right? Is that what it's called?
That's right. Except
And it
it's
normally
usually
airs on Mondays
night.
at 9 p.m. Eastern,
Usually
6
on
p.m.
Monday
Pacific.
nights, but due to a YouTube outage,
Right.
Tuesday
The
at
second
9
one we'll
p.m.?
experience that in that 7-day period. Go ahead, Alan. First to Bird.
And one of our panelists on that is Bruce Turner. He's one of our regular panelists on that show. And he had this note that he posted on YouTube a few minutes ago relating to our earlier comment. My Chromecast arrived today, and I love it. Craig is totally off base on Chromecast longevity.
Can you read that first part again?
My Chromecast arrived today, and I love it.
No. The first
The
part of the
first part
second
of it.
Oh,
comment.
you mean the
there.
part that says Craig is totally off base?
Go ahead and leave that on
Chromecast
screen.
longevity.
Wait, I'm trying to. I'm a little slow on the update. Craig is totally off base. Okay.
Yeah.
You can stop reading after that part. Craig is totally
Yeah,
off
these-
base, and that's basically.
These Android and Chromecast and so on fanboys. They always love their toys when they first get them.
But Craig, you have to remember.
a month
Bruce-
later.
You have to remember. Bruce was an iPhone guy.
Yeah, and he'll be back. He'll come back. They all do. They always come back.
No, because you know why? Apple is in a downward death spiral. They are doomed.
Not
Doomed,
yet.
I tell you.
I'll let you know.
Doomed.
They're going to take a dive, but not yet. I'll let you know when.
Moving on to our other subject, talking about Google Maps and Waze integration, which you did, within the past hour or two, Dan.
Yes.
We're actually beginning to see the first fruits of the integration between the two. So Google Maps is now starting to get information from Waze about traffic delays, and is incorporating that into route planning and route information.
The only thing that matters with Waze is where is the speed trap ahead? Where is the little cop sign?
It's
That's the
interesting
only
that
thing.
you
And
bring
somebody
that.
commented that today. Kevin, I think that's the big Waze feature. It warns you of speed traps, right, Craig? That's
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because a lot of the local police forces now are starting to encrypt all of their communications, and because all of these apps that you can get on the phones, you have to listen to the police radio and all of this stuff.
yeah.
And so this is that cat and mouse game, right? And so, of course, years ago we had radar detectors, right? Now we have Waze. So it's going to be interesting to see what the police do. Of course, we know they're doing things like cameras and other ways of
Craig, here's the
nailing
thing.
you.
I mean, this isn't so much more like detecting it. This is more like CB radio, where the guy who's going down, the trucker who is going down the highway sees the cop on the side. He gets on the CB and says, "Hey, there's a Smoky."
Yeah, but it's
it's
Yeah, but what
so-and-so.
we're going to see, though, Craig or Alan, on Waze, you can go by when you see an obstacle or something listed on Waze. For folks who don't know, Waze is like sort of like Google Maps as a navigator. It also will tell you if there's a traffic slowdown or a police activity or something like that.
And the important part about it telling you there's a traffic slowdown is how it gets that information.
From
And it gets that
users.
information by people who are running Waze.
people
right.
reporting it. Yeah, but
But what you're
Alan,
going to see, Craig, is eventually you're going to see a YouTube video of a cop car with 25 different cell phones, all with different Waze accounts they've just started, and they're because you can say like the obstacle's no longer here. So like someone can report, oh, there's someone running radar, and then the next driver can come up and say, oh, that's not true. There's no one here, and so the cops are going to be negating all those reports.
and the next
so they
thing
can
that
get their money.
Next thing we'll see is they're adding more and more sensors to all of these phones. So they've got to add some kind of sophisticated sensors in them so that they can pick up these like speed cameras and the speed lights and all of these things, the red light cameras and all this kind of stuff, so that they can just automatically pick those up. The flash goes off and stuff like that, and they just sense that, and they automatically report it all to Waze. So it's this cat and mouse game, but the bottom line is when you have big government with a lot of resources, it's going to be a problem.
Maybe we should have a federal initiative to discourage Waze. Maybe they can run ads and have a czar.
They
And,
may outlaw Waze.
maybe they should
tried with
outlaw it,
radar
you know?
detectors.
Because you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, so
Yeah,
you
but they
shouldn't be able
couldn't
to
I mean,
report a
this is-
police roadblock.
Yeah, they could certainly outlaw it, Alan. They could say that you can't use it, that it's a driver's distraction or whatever. They come out with a law, and then if they catch you using it, which they could easily do because the system knows you're moving, right? And it knows you're using
Bruce,
it, like
Bruce,
you're tapping the screen.
Sir Craig, this case has been lost already. This was done with CB radio.
I was
They
totally
couldn't-
trolling Craig. I know
Well, but
they
wait
can't
a minute
ban
now,
Waze.
Alan. This is a little different. When you're going down the road with a cell phone and you see a speed trap and you tap the phone, you're obviously a distracted driver,
Fine,
right?
take
Yeah.
the tap out of it.
Yeah, but
Even if you're talking
CB
to it,
radios,
that's
you
still
gotta
a
pick up. You
distraction.
gotta pick up the microphone and talk into it.
Even if you got hands free, it's still distracting. It's distracting any way you slice it, and they could very easily make that argument, and they could say if you're caught using it, it's a $500 fine. And then they could automate that process through AT&T, who's happy to get in bed with them, right? And they'll share the money. They'll say each month we want a report from you as to how many times Alan used Waze while he was in motion going down the road, and they just send you the ticket in the mail like they do with these speed cameras. You all wanted big government, you're getting it.
You're single, right, Craig?
That brought silence on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Craig. I just fell asleep listening to this again. So our next, even more thrilling topic. I'm mentioning this because I figure we'll get past this one in about 30 seconds, and maybe we'll talk about the bigger implications, but I doubt it. There is a new feature in Google Drive Docs where if you hit Alt/, you can then search the menu system. So if you have totally forgotten how to change the font to something, you can now search for how to do something, and it'll take you right to that menu item. This is both brilliant and utterly stupid at the same time. And I congratulate the team for implementing a feature that is so brilliant and yet so utterly stupid.
I'm going to try it.
And the reason why it's brilliant is, of course, as the number of features increases, you need a way to be able to find features that are important to you that are buried somewhere in some bad menu system. The problem is it means you've got a bad menu system. And quite honestly, Google Docs has other problems that it needs to address before putting this in, like actually implementing some features. Anyway, I don't want to beat this dead horse. And the next one's is going to be a nice, fun topic that I'm sure we'll be able to yell about. Any final thoughts before I move on, Craig?
No, I was just playing with the menu.
Does it actually work?
Is it just Google Docs, or is it for all of their Office
I
products?
don't know, actually. It kind of implied it was part. They said it was part of Google Drive.
It shows a whole bunch of shortcuts. I'm sure they work on all their products, I would guess.
More or less. Okay, next topic. There was a. I'm disappointed Dan isn't back for this one. Robert Scoble made a post earlier today talking about how he heard a rumor. He got it from an inside source that Best Buy was going to be carving out 6,000 square feet from each of their stores and dedicating it to a Google store. And that Google store was going to be dedicated to glass.
Oh my gosh.
And this got a lot of traction. People were talking about it, talking about how it wasn't going to be 6,000, it was going to be 600. How this was the only way that Best Buy was going to be able to make money. And then later in the day, someone on Glass's communication team posted a tweet, which tells you a lot, saying, quote, Google Glass not coming to Best Buy in 2014. Oh, and it won't be $299 either. So that was an interesting set of information. Now, there's a lot of interesting wiggle room in there. He specified 2014. So there's a lot going on in that quote. I know we know I'm the big glass person here. Anybody have any thoughts on this? Because I know Dan, if he was here, would, but he seems to have vanished at the moment.
If he's basically saying that it's going to be more than $299, I think that's going to be a problem. I mean, I don't think most people are going to be willing to pay. Let's say they're $499 or whatever. I think $299 is a perfect price point. And if he's saying they're going to be more than that, I think that's a problem. Whether they put them in Best Buy or not, that's immaterial because Best Buy is basically on the way down the tubes too. But how they sell them, that's another issue. But the price point, I think it's critical to keep them affordable. And from what I understand, of the materials that are in them, $299 should be fine. There's not a whole lot in them, correct, Alan?
Sure, there isn't. I mean, well, I've heard estimates ranging from, production price of them is anywhere from $150 to $500.
Well, that's quite a range.
That's quite a range, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting you say that people wouldn't buy it for that price. People who are buying iPads and iPhones for significantly more.
Yeah, but this is more like an accessory. This isn't. They look at an iPad almost as a replacement for a computer or using it instead of a computer. I don't think they look
Craig? We didn't when they first came out. I mean, remember, the iPhone, when it first came out, was ridiculed because of its price, saying nobody was going to pay that amount for a phone, for something that was just a phone.
Well, and really, in the beginning, not that many people did. The price came down pretty quickly, if you recall.
I didn't think the price on the iPhones come down at all.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. The first one was I forget the exact price, but when they came out with the second one, it had a lot more features and so forth, and the price was lower.
How many square feet was the initial rumor?
Initial rumor was 6,000.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's huge.
I mean, that's a store. I mean, that's crazy. No way.
Yeah, that's huge.
They're downsizing Best Buy store sizes. Yeah.
My entire casita is 450. I can't imagine putting too many. I mean, look at all the glass you can put in here.
I mean, a small.
I can imagine 6,000.
A small store is 2,500 square feet.
Except for the fact that a small store is usually packed with stuff, and what a presumed glass sales location would be is a place where you're actually sitting down with somebody and getting fitted for it and trying it on and learning how to use it. It's a personal experience.
So the fact that it would be 600 makes more sense. If they said the initial rumor was wrong and it was 600 is what you said, then that would make more sense. 600 square feet I can buy.
Well, the quote though said the quote denies it completely. Google Glass not coming to Best Buy in 2014.
Yeah, but that means they could be coming there in 2015. If Best Buy,
it could be coming in 2015.
Yeah, because remember when the first rumors came out about Google Plus, there was a story that said, Google is secretly working on a social network that's going to be called Circles. And Google issued an official denial and said, we are absolutely not working on any kind of social network called Circles. This is just nonsense. And then, of course, it came out and it was called Google Plus, and Circles was a component. So technically they weren't lying.
But they still don't call it a social network.
They did initially. Then they said it was a social layer. Yeah, social layer.
They dance around that phrase.
Because they don't want to be compared ComScore to ComScore with Facebook.
That's right.
So it's a social layer to connect their individual properties.
Different thing.
Even though if they did defeat Facebook, they would happily call it the social network. That's PR. But the glass thing is I could totally see, like, as long as there's a good commission for the salespeople, them sitting people down. If you figure if you have some, person who has a feature phone, and they're getting their first Android or iPhone, the sales rep is going to have to spend some time with them to explain what's going on. They're going to get some, questions. So I think it's the same thing here. It's worth, half an hour of some, not $8 to $11 an hour retail guy's time to explain how glass works and sit you down and
That's
show you
actually
how
an
to do
interesting
that.
question, though. There are other carve-out stores. Is it Best Buy employees that are manning the stores?
Yeah, it could be a contractor for sure.
Well, I mean, is it Best Buy employees that are doing it, or is it a Google employee or contractor? Who's paying this person? Because right now, Google, shockingly enough, has an incredibly good sales and support team built around glass.
Wow,
well, they would
must have
probably try to extend that.
up their
Well, and
game.
there's a lot of people that are thinking that that's exactly what they're doing, that the 3 base camps that they've set up to distribute glass at this point are the training ground for a broader distribution network.
But Alan,
Could you guesstimate how large the area was where you got fitted for glass?
Give me a few minutes and I'll see what I can dig up.
But Alan, while you're doing that, do you really believe, after you've been using glass for a while and so forth, do you really believe that this amount of training and hands-on sales is really needed? You don't think that they can sell them to people and a friend could help them, or most of these people are probably going to be buying these through word of mouth. They're going to know somebody that gets one and they're going to talk them into getting one or whatever, or they're going to be an early adopter who isn't going to care, who's going to get on YouTube and figure out by watching videos how to use it or whatever. Do you really think this kind of hands-on training and hand-holding is necessary at the point of sale?
Yes and no. I mean, I can easily see that for a large number of people, it wouldn't be. That they would do fine without it. Part of the problem, though, is I'm trying to think of the right way to explain this in a way that would make sense. What if I told you you can buy your iPhone, but you need to hold it at a particular angle all the time to see the screen correctly? And if you don't hold it at that angle, it's going to look a little weird, and you won't get the full experience out of it. And holding at that angle is really easy to do. It'll be a natural, automatic thing for you. But the first time, you need to be shown, and somebody needs to help you figure out what that perfect angle is.
Do you?
And
do
that's
you
kind
think
of what
that-
it. And sorry, Anthony. Let me just finish. And that's kind of what it is with glass. It's easy to use and to get started with it, but it does take a little bit of adjustment right at the beginning to make sure that you actually see it correctly.
How long does that really take?
5-10 minutes maybe. But if you're trying to sell a product that's considered that they want seen as a premier product, you're not just going to toss it at somebody and say, hey,
Well, yeah, if they're going to go
here's what it
upscale
does,
with
there you go.
If they're going to go upscale with it and the price is going to be $500 or $600 or something, absolutely, I can see them having a boutique in there and having you sit down and pampering you and so on and so forth. But I just don't know how many they're going to sell at that kind of price point.
Look,
We'll see.
I'm looking at the numbers here. I'm looking at some because I had seen these stories before, and Best Buy is downsizing their store sizes. So the average store now, this is an LA Times article here. It says 45,000 square feet, and their new stores are going to be 36,000 square feet. So 6,000 will be 1/6 of an entire store. Now I could totally imagine if it were a temporary promotion where if because there's a lot of buzz about glass, big time, and when they finally do make it a commercial product and release it, anybody can buy it, no restrictions, at a much lower price point, then there's going to be a huge interest and news stories out the wazoo. And so I can totally see a retailer bending over backwards. And Best Buy is a national store with a national footprint here in Canada, etc. But I could totally see them maybe temporarily clearing a space for like a 2-week promotion or whatever, a month, whatever. But a permanent like glass store that would occupy 1/6 of their stores, just fantasy land. I just can't see that. That's insane.
So I mean, like Google's trying to sell a relatively, especially mass product. It's a new product. Like, people don't necessarily know how to use Glass, which is what you're saying, Alan. But are they also just selling the experience? I mean, are they doing it because they want to go, like you said, this is a premium device, and hey, we want it to look, a little bit more special than maybe it is, so we're going to, sit you down and say
That's a good question, the other angle, and I think you're getting onto that, Anthony, and this one is aimed at Craig, is I think what they're trying to duplicate in this case as well is the Apple Store Genius Bar experience, where you'll have somebody, you can always walk up to and ask a question, get your problem solved, whatever. If you're going to say that, hey, an Apple product is easy enough to, you don't need help on it, then why do they have a Genius Bar?
So, Alan,
And it really wouldn't surprise me if that's kind of where they're trying to go with this. And if they do, and I think there's certainly, whether or not they do, I don't know. But I think the Genius Bar is in some ways a model for their Basecamp experience, their Basecamp, how they want it to look and feel and operate. They're trying to create a welcoming environment. They're trying to make it a showcase of the product, as you're talking about, Anthony. It's a place where you can also learn more about it, not just buy it and be fitted for it.
You stole what I was going to say. What I was going to suggest.
So I think that makes a great deal of sense, and I'm sorry that Craig stepped out for a minute.
Oh, you can't hear
I
me?
assume Craig stepped out for a minute.
I'm here.
And I'm trying to find what the square footage on their Chelsea office space is,
You
and
can't
I
hear me?
can't find a good answer for that right now.
Alan, can you
I
not
can
hear Craig?
I
Yeah, I'm
can't hear
here.
Craig at all.
Craig's here.
Should I come back in?
Okay. He doesn't look here.
Should I come back? Yeah, he's there. Did you block him?
No.
I'll
Yeah,
go-
I
I'll
may
go
have a
out and
mental
I'll come
block
back.
for him
I'll go
against
out and I'll
him,
come
but
back in.
technically,
No, you're fine. No, Craig, we can all hear you.
Craig, you're fine. It might be me.
Well, anyway,
Let me be right
but
back.
I wanted Alan
Well,
to hear what I was going to say. What I was going to say is that my thought on this was, if they're going to do something like this, what they really should do is a Google store, not just a Glass store. They should do a store that sells all of Google's products and has a lot of hands-on help and training, and with even things like we talked about earlier, Google Docs and all these kinds of things. I think that would be fantastic. That's the type of thing that I've been saying for a long time. Google needs to mix it up with the people, and
Well,
this would be a perfect way to do that.
And I can see you now, Craig. And I think there were some people talking about that might be what some of this space would be used for. That it's not just for Google Glass, that it's for their entire product line.
The whole ecosystem. You could even have a place where people could test Hangouts and do Hangouts and so forth, and see how everything works. I think it would be fantastic, because there's really not enough of that, and if more average people really saw all these tools that Google has, I think it would be fantastic.
Well, and I think that it would be, to continue on your thought process, to take advantage of the establishment that Best Buy has created, and for Google to be able to go, hey, we have a storefront in every Best Buy. So you already know where your local Best Buy is, so you already effectively know where you can go and get this great Google experience.
Absolutely, it'd be a draw for Best Buy. It would be great for Best Buy.
Especially
I mean,
if they had an
it-
exclusive for some period of time.
Like,
It was the only place you could, like, if they were well stocked in the Chromecast and the Nexus phones, and the new Nexus 7 got it ahead of other retailers. But then you have to wonder if that would be in Google's best interest. But this is all speculation here. But I totally don't think there's going to be a 6,000 square foot area
It
in
seems a bit
a
odd.
Best
We have
Buy.
We have this comment. Could they be coming to Best Buy in 2013? They just denied 2014. I thought Glass was going to be available to consumers by holiday 2013. There's actually a lot of people questioning now whether it is going to be available by 2013 for a lot of reasons.
Didn't somebody say on this show that it wasn't going to be till next year?
I don't think anybody said it on this show. Did
Okay.
Vic say it?
I thought somebody said it on this show.
We talk about it every so often that both Sergey and Schmidt have been quoted as saying that it was 2014. But
Okay, I think it was Schmidt. Yeah, you're right. I think you're
But
right.
you know, to be honest, I don't trust anything Schmidt says. I mean, he's mostly sent out by Google so that people can so that he distracts them from everything else they're doing.
Since
we've
the
also
Nexus
heard-
Q experience, to their credit, Google is not afraid to wait to release a product until they think it's right. You know what I mean?
Well, but they're also very happy to release a product before it's ready.
Yeah, and that is most cases.
I mean, a physical product that's sold in stores or
Even
something.
a physical product, they're very happy to have us beta test them. I mean, look at the
Oh my
Chromecast,
God.
for gosh sakes. It rolled out, had all kinds of issues.
No, it doesn't. That's ridiculous. It's
You even had issues with yours when you first got it.
it's
Come
worth
on.
$35. It's great.
Oh, yeah, it's worth $35. I'll give you that.
Oh my God.
Almost nothing's worth $35. Ice cream cone's $35 in most places you go these days.
Oh my God.
We have this comment from James, who points out that they now have Samsung dedicated areas with Samsung employees selling all of the Android-based products. So I think if we look at that as a possible model, maybe that's what people are thinking of as well, as a route that Android could go, or a route that Google could go.
Has Best Buy ever had Genius bars in any of those stores?
Yes, they've got the Geek Squad.
No, but
Oh,
I
you
meant,
mean
I
an
meant-
actual
They
Genius
also
bar?
have little, like,
I-
mini Apple stores, don't they?
That's what that's what I'm asking.
I
Best
thought
Buy's
they
up
have
their
that.
game. Because my
What?
Note 2's cracked. Oh, they have. They started this new policy where they will match Amazon. So I wanted to buy, I forget what it was. It was my Chromecast. I was going to get it from Amazon, but I wanted it right away. I called the Winchester Best Buy, Winchester, Virginia, and they had it in stock. And I went down there and bought it. It was $35. And then a couple other things I've bought there, and it's exact same price that Amazon has. I mean, they're like, we're tired of showrooming, so any identical product that we have, we will match Amazon or Walmart or anybody. And so if you want it right away, you got to pay sales tax and you got to take the time and the gas to get there, but they'll match it. Also, I bought my phone at a Sprint store or from Sprint, I can't remember which, but the screen cracked and it's a $200 deductible and I have to switch the phone. If you buy the phone from Best Buy, the insurance is $2 cheaper and they'll swap a screen crack out for free and transfer all your stuff over for free right there in the store. So I think they're definitely up in their game. Now it's like if you want something quickly, Best Buy is a good option and Amazon doesn't have a price advantage. So good for them, So I think they're a good partner.
So, Alan,
Speaking of upping their game, we have this comment from James. Did Craig just say Google employees for help in hands-on?
we
I
can
gotta-
hope. We
I
can
gotta
hope.
tell you, but I gotta tell you something. The Glass guides are really, really good at customer service.
So there you go.
Google has really done a tremendously good job at customer service with Glass. There have been glitches, no doubt about it. There have been people who have had problems ordering. There have been people who have, had problems with delivery. There have been people who have reported some issues with exchanges. But there's been a person who's been there to help them. When I had to do my Glass exchange, it was no problem. Handled the exchange fine. They never sent me the tracking number for my return. Okay? Yes, that's a problem. Yes, that's an issue. But it got returned to me without a problem. It landed on my doorstep without any issue.
I really think this is one of the things that Google could do to, like Dan would say, really up their game. If they did do this, if they had basically Google stores and all of these Best Buys, and Best Buy would have to give them a great deal because it would be such a draw to pull people into Best Buy. They'd be buying all kinds of stuff while they're in there, right? And just come in there and have great PR people, great salespeople, technicians, whatever, have a mix of different people to help with whatever issue you have with Google. You just walk in there and anything you have with Google, we'll help you out. That would be so huge, and it wouldn't cost them that much. They'd have to be able to sell enough product to at least pay for the people that are there.
I can see how it would be expensive, Craig. I do.
You don't think they'd be able to sell enough hardware to make it at least pay for itself?
I think it would be tough, especially for some questions that that they could get. I mean, I've seen questions that come in on various product forums, and we're talking consumer product forums, that are just difficult and fiendishly complex to manage. I'm
not saying they'd be able to answer every question that every customer that walks in there has, but I mean, they'd certainly be able to help with a lot, and they'd be able to demonstrate things and show them how Google search works.
I think the demonstrating part is the easy part. I think the equivalent of the Genius Bar, that gets more tricky and more expensive. And maybe they could, but I think
they've got a lot of money.
I think that's the riskier prospect. Anyway, I don't want to. Shall we move on? Not that I have any idea what our next subject is.
Our next subject is Vogue.
Our next subject is Vogue. Strike a pose.
Another rare Alan Furstenberg Google Glass topic.
In fact, I need to.
Glasses in Vogue.
I really should don them for this event. Apparently Vogue, and we touched on this a little bit earlier. Marissa Mayer is appearing in this month's issue of Vogue magazine, and one of the other things they're talking about futuristic stuff, fashion in the future, and they've got I believe it was a 10 or 15 page spread featuring glass. And people modeling with glass. So once again, we're seeing how not just Google but others are actually seeing glass as a fashion accessory.
I wonder what behind the scenes
when
stuff
did you
went
add
on.
that?
And let's rewind the tape. I was the one that said when I first saw you wearing glass that they were cool and they were hip, and everybody else was saying that people look goofy wearing them. And of course now everybody's coming around to my way of thinking.
When did you add that story? Because at 2 o'clock that wasn't there.
No, I added it just before the show started.
He slipped it in on you, Pam. Pam would look so hot with glass on. Can you imagine?
Pam is so 3 hours ago.
Pam already looks pretty hot, so I think glass would just enhance that.
That's what I'm saying.
Thanks, Alan. It was 106 today. It was very hot.
Can you imagine her with glass? Holy mackerel.
It's been a little over a year. Just curious, a quick thought. Marissa Mayer left Google to be the CEO of Yahoo, and she was in Vogue, right, this week. I talked about this earlier when we were discussing Steve Ballmer, who's just been a 13-year disaster. But their stock price is up 80%. She was in Vogue magazine, and she had some initial criticism over her plan, which I think was fine, to make the stay-at-home people say you have to come in the office if you want to keep your job. And my attitude is, if I'm paying you to do something, you're going to do it on my terms, or you can leave, right? And if I'm not happy with the current performance, which obviously they wouldn't have had to get a new CEO if they were happy with the whatever, but obviously the proof is in the stock price and the performance, and they had a brilliant ComScore rating. They're number one site, or number one destination, all their sites combined, and they beat Google for the first time in several years. And this is a great week to be Marissa Mayer, right? And it's a good week for Yahoo and their shareholders.
I wish I had never given up craigship@yahoo.com.
You gave that up for real?
Big mistake. I haven't logged in for so long. I think they give them away.
They've been reaping them.
Yeah, I think they give them away.
You could get it again, I guess. All right, so cars, Alan.
Well, here's the interesting one. We've one of the things about glass is that Google is making glass, and we saw with the Nexus Q that Google has been doing an effort at making the Nexus, is making the news, making that themselves. So clearly, they're now moving into making more and more products themselves. And an interesting rumor came out today talking about how the next piece of hardware they're going to be making are their cars. And this was an interesting angle, talking about how, yes, they're looking to market the driverless cars to various auto manufacturers, but at the same time, they may be making their own. So you're going to see a real Google-branded car. I don't know if anybody else has seen the story or if any thoughts on this from anyone. Anthony, you've been quiet for a while, so I get to pick on you.
Is he muted? Okay.
So basically, we're talking about Google making their own self-driving cars. Is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. The rumor came out. It was Anthony. It was. They've been working with other companies, with the car companies, and they've been working on self-driving cars, but they haven't negotiated a partnership with a specific car company, or nobody's bitten on their offer, and so the initial report was that it was actually from Amir Afradi, a Wall Street Journal reporter, but it was on a blog post he did, that they're like secretly actually building their own retail car, Elon Musk style, and they're considering some sort of thing. I would guess it would start in San Francisco or in Mountain View or somewhere, where it would be in a cooperative community, similar to the way that they sought out community, Kansas City for fiber. They would find a community that would really cooperate with them, and set up some sort of like roving automated automaton cab system where you could have a really efficient thing where when you're going from home to work or from home to the store or whatever, from the office to lunch and back, that you would hail a cab and one would appear, and then you could take it, but the crux of it is that while they're negotiating with these companies, the Ford and other companies, that at the same time they're in the back channels actually building their own potential vehicle with an eye on some sort of cab situation.
Can you imagine, Dan, if they were to team up with Tesla, because Tesla is rumored to be coming out with a more affordable electric car? Can you imagine if they came out with a relatively affordable electric car that was self-driven and so forth, and just teamed up with Tesla? That would be huge. I would be all
while you're
over
in a
that.
meeting, it would drive off and recharge and come back. I mean, oh my God!
Absolutely.
If it had ice cream, it'd be perfect. I mean, it was just, my God. This is. Elon Musk is literally like Michelangelo of 2000.
To me, and I was going to say this before Craig said it. First of all, the most obvious partner, in my opinion, would be Tesla. This is from just hearing about this right this moment. So this is my response from 30 seconds of knowing about it, of hearing about the story.
That's more than Craig Shipp knows about it.
That's right.
It actually it kind of seems odd to me at this point. Because why wouldn't Google be have they kind of started this process with more traditional vehicles, with like the Google Street View cars? Right now they seem to love to use I'm not sure what the motto is, but they love to use a specific Hyundai, that they put the Google wraps around and do the street views with. So it would kind of seem to me that if this is a direction that they want to go in, and maybe they just made the decision relatively recently, but it seems to me that they would have started with a non-consumer vehicle, which would be like the Google Street View vehicles before they went into
In other words, make
a
the
consumer grade vehicle.
In other words, make the Street View vehicles self-driving.
No,
Well,
you can't do
not
that.
necessarily make them self-driving, but make them, Google vehicles. They wouldn't be Hyundais, or they wouldn't be Chevys, or they wouldn't be Fords, or even
Start
Teslas.
dogfooding the process of building your own cars
Right,
with building
or
your own cars to your own needs first.
Well, but the reason that
And exclusively used by them.
The reason that they would build a self-driving car themselves, if they can't get Ford or somebody else to do it, or Tesla or whatever, I would think that the reason they would build it is because they have some ideas of ways it needs to be different from a regular car. In other words, right now, I guess they take Priuses and they convert them into self-driving cars. Maybe there's
Among
some
many
disadvantages. Maybe there are some disadvantages to doing that. I don't know enough about it to know what the disadvantages would be, but maybe there are advantages to building it as a self-driving car from Jump Street. For example, I mean, maybe it doesn't even have to have a steering wheel and stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Quick
right.
side
I
note,
mean-
just to let me introduce this into the conversation. I'm looking here. I did a quick Google search. I see that Tesla's market cap is only $20 billion right now, $19.66 billion, which is, I think Google, their revenues are about $12 billion a quarter, right?
Yeah, and Apple's like 30 billion. Apple could buy them with like a quarter's worth of
So
revenue.
if Tesla's market cap, if we're just thinking about like a partnership, or I'm furthering this to a purchase, right?
Google's
if they're
cash
20,
res-
Google's
Yeah,
market cap
Google's-
is
Google has 43 billion in cash reserves right now.
So
yeah,
buy
they
Tesla.
could literally buy 2.5 times over. They could buy Tesla.
It seems
So why
odd.
are they using Tesla?
They're not.
not.
We're just wildly speculating here because that's what we do.
Tesla-
and it's,
Tesla has a heck
it's
of a
late.
manufacturing facility, a very modern manufacturing facility. And if they could make cars with no steering wheel, no throttle, no gas pedal, none of that crap, right?
And they're
Well, the thing is
conveniently
you need-
located, Craig.
Yeah,
right?
you'd
They're right
need it
next
for
to Google.
maintenance.
I mean, aren't they in California, right near Google? I say right near. I mean, within
They're fairly close, yeah.
Yeah, but we're
And
thinking.
and I believe, okay, I could be wrong, but I believe in California that any vehicle on the road has to have things like a parking brake,
Well,
brakes.
that's because they haven't fully embraced the concept of a self-driving
Okay,
car.
so we
They-
talked about how Microsoft is going to be around for a while because companies haven't embraced new software. So what are the chances that you think that our Democratic legislature in California is going to embrace?
That's why. That's
you
why.
know-
Like Dan,
Don't get him started, Pam! Pam! Oh my god!
You didn't
Oh
want
my
to
god, Pam, why did you do it?
that's and so Pam.
Pam! We have this comment asking, will they find manufacturers of engines and frames for the car, or would they have to make that from scratch? In this case, what the story reported is that they are talking to component manufacturers about buying those components. And that's kind of what tipped them off to the speculation.
Something that I think that needs to be pointed out is that even a powerful company, with tons of resources and tons of cash, does not simply walk in and say we're going to become a car manufacturer.
One does
Chevy
not
and
simply.
Ford- Well, wait a minute. Let me quantify that. Chevy and Ford and Chrysler obviously have been around virtually forever. But Tesla is a relatively new company, but they're not a new company. Tesla is not a new company. They've been around for what, like, I want to say like 10 years off the bat, but I don't know what the specific numbers. But they are just now approaching profitability. So this isn't just something that you can waltz in and go, hey, I want to make a vehicle, and all of a sudden do it. To me, and again, this is very off the cuff, it would make more sense to go with an established car manufacturer, and whether that be on the low end with like Tesla or the high end, the very high end with Chevy, and go, hey, Chevy or Tesla, we want to make a brand new vehicle, and we want it to be our vehicle, but can you help us out with it? When Chevy, I believe the number of years is when Chevy decides that they're going to just update, not create a brand new vehicle, but say they're going from the fourth generation of Malibus to the fifth generation of Malibus. That's a 5-year process for a company that's been doing this forever. So
yeah, but they're doing things the old way, Anthony. I mean, you've got a new company like Tesla that's forward thinking. They've got a much more modern manufacturing facility. They are going to be able to adapt quicker to new things. And I think that going back to Pam's comment of regulators and all of this, and going back to the comment I think that Dan or somebody made about them trying to find a friendly area.
I think that you saying that they don't that like Chevy doesn't have brand new development or facilities is completely off base.
I mean, look at what they
whenever
built.
they open up a brand new manufacturing plant,
for gosh
whenever
sakes.
they open up a brand new manufacturing plant, it's going to be using what is brand new and effective to that day, and they're opening up new manufacturing plants.
You compare what they're doing to
often,
Tesla.
relatively.
Compare what they're doing to Tesla. There's no comparison. And so, but going back to what Pam was saying about regulation and all that,
I disagree.
Suppose that they did go and they found a community that was friendly to self-driving cars, regulatory-wise, and suppose they went to Tesla and they worked out a deal where they could have X number of cars built as like a trial program type thing, and they built, let's say, 50 cars that are true self-driving cars that don't have all the baggage of a converted car. They don't have the throttle, they don't have the steering wheel, they don't have any of this stuff, right? And they bring them to this community that's friendly, and maybe they do run them as taxis, and then they go into charging stations that automatically couple to them and charge them when they're not in use, and they automatically come to where the person is and take them to where they need to be. And it's a very efficient system that they design as a demonstration program. I can certainly see Google doing something like that.
I think that you're thinking way too far ahead. I know that, and
Google
I applaud
far
Google.
ahead.
Google is a forward-thinking company. But like I just said, making a car is a very long process, and changing the regulations in place in any of these states is not a 5-year process, in my opinion. I think 5 years is the short term, the absolute short term.
Look, the way Google. Okay, hold on.
Changes that you're talking about.
There are two issues, Anthony. One is with a driverless car or self-driving car. One is the safety issues are: is it going to kill me? In other words, if I'm driving the vehicle, am I going to die or get injured, or my occupants? And the other issue is it going to go out of control, and is it going to kill somebody else? Like you're innocently driving your vehicle, and all of a sudden some driverless car spirals out of control and hits you, and you die. So there's two issues there. But and also there's the thing that this isn't really brand new technology. A lot of this is existing stuff. Like Vic Indotra was in a TV commercial for Mercedes because they have a self-braking thing. So he was distracted and he almost rear-ended somebody, but the car stopped, and he wrote a letter to them or mentioned it or whatever, and they became aware of it. And so they ended up he did a TV commercial. He did it for free, and just talking about that safety feature. So there are things they can do, but those are the fears. I mean, there's the fear to other people driving a vehicle if one goes out of control, and there's the fear of the actual occupants of the vehicle. And the second thing is you could find a community like what Craig is saying, that there are communities out there that are like a lot of seniors or they're low elevation next to the sea level, and there are no cars. Maybe there's like golf carts, and that's how everyone, I think we talked about this before. There's an entire island community. I think it's near Guam or something where everyone just drives golf carts. That would be a perfect test case. But just like with Google Glass, where they have a test bed community of developer types and first generation users who are willing to test this, and they can put it in the field. If they could find a community just like Kansas City with Google Fiber, that's what Google likes to do. They like to find a really friendly community and test something and figure out the bugs, and at the same time generate positive PR, which is working fabulously for Google Fiber. If they could do the same thing with the driverless cars, if they could find a community that was really willing to be forgiving in the regulation and stuff, and accommodating, and they could set up, a dozen or 50
It's
or
called
200.
Nevada.
Huh?
It's called Nevada.
Nevada. I mean, yeah.
Places like Plantation, Florida, right outside of Disney there, they had a demonstration thing for electric cars there and Segways and so
Right.
forth.
No, it's Nevada has all the licensing in place that you can drive a driverless. You can drive a driverless car. You can operate a driverless car in Nevada perfectly legally now.
There
You
you
just
go.
need to get the right license for your car.
There you
But
go.
it's all in place.
Yeah, I can't wait, and I think it's going to be
Now,
10 years before I'll be able to buy one. But as soon as I'm able to buy one, whatever state it's in, I will go there.
now here's an interesting one though for you, Craig. You mentioned a few minutes ago in talking about this, you kind of alluded to the possibility of taxis using driverless cars.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because at the same time as this one broke, there was also some information released about how Uber, which is the upstart taxi-like company that's been out there, just closed another round of financing. And apparently, as part of that round of investor financing, Google Ventures didn't just invest some money with them, they invested a huge chunk of money.
For
with
folks
them.
who don't know, Uber is the cab company where they don't actually, I think they don't actually own cabs. They contract with drivers, and what they do is you have an Android or an iOS app on your phone, and you can hail a cab. And initially they started out in San Francisco, and it was like, a fancy black car, shiny, and you hail a cab, and it's sort of like an eBay for cabs, where the cabs are the specific drivers are actually rated, like how many stars they have, and you can select them, and it's about twice the cost of a regular taxi, but it's you can hail them and you pay for it with your account, and so no money changes hands in the actual drive. You just like hail them, and they come get you, and it picks the one closest to you, and then you get in the car and you go to your destination. You say thanks so much, and the gratuities included and everything. So like it's really convenient, and they've reached a lot of pushback from the in a lot of cities, including D.C. And I covered the Washington D.C. City Council meeting where they talked about this in one of my posts a long time ago. But that's what Uber is. It's a very innovative new thing that makes sense. And there's a new thing, UberX, which is using hybrids instead of the fancier cars, and it's more in line with the cost of the existing taxi cabs. So just so folks who don't know, go ahead, Alan.
No, so apparently Google is investing in Uber for whatever reason. But there's certainly indication that they want to make sure that Android remains a presence there, but also perhaps Google is looking to create a fleet of self-driving taxis, and they're looking to Uber for help to do it.
The best thing, in my opinion, Alan, let me get your take on this. I used to live in Deepwood, which is in Virginia. I lived there for about a year, and it's it's part of it's near Reston, which was a planned community, and I think that's the way to go here. I think they need to find some place where they could actually build a town that would be all driverless cars, and they've got the money to do this. I mean, they have tons of money. There's no cash crunch at Google, and they could actually build a planned community like Reston, and
Well, wait a minute, Dave.
make
They
it
can
driverless
just go
communities.
into a community that's already there, like Plantation, Florida, or some community, and just work.
Yeah,
a
but
deal
they
with
could do it
them.
right if they did a planned community.
No, because it's got to work everywhere, Dan. It can't be something custom built for the cars. The cars need to work in any
I'm talking for a
environment.
beta test. I'm not talking for.
That's what I mean. And
Yeah,
so you pick a
Dan,
community,
here-
you go in.
They've
In the same
already
way
beta
that when
tested them
Disney-
on the LA freeways.
In the
Yeah,
same
they've
way
done a
that
lot
when
of
Disney, when Disney basically has their own municipality.
Well, no. You want to start talking Celebration Florida? We'll talk about Celebration Florida.
I'm saying that what if they created their own community with their own, like they owned it, right? And they could rent homes out or whatever, and everyone's driverless cars, and there's no like worry about like
There's a
if you have
bunch
an
of
accident,
communities where
it's
you
their
could do
police
that.
department, they own it, right?
No.
And they could test it and use that as a beta field.
But imagine how much more efficient it would be for taxis. For gosh sakes, you can lop off that whole front seat. You don't even need it. All you need is the back seat, right? You can take off almost a third of the car just getting rid of that whole front seat. And the people just get in, and the thing takes them to where they want to go, and it automatically charges their credit card or whatever. And they just get out, and the thing goes to the nearest charging station and charges while it waits for the next person to
The
hail it.
advantage of what I'm suggesting, and starting with the planned community, is if it was all driverless cars, you wouldn't have the problem of non-driverless cars and,
Dan,
the,
there are two
the potential
problems
of
with what
crashing
you're-
into them or vice
Dan,
versa.
You
Dan,
need that.
Dan,
That's
no,
what I'm
Dan.
saying.
Right, you need that. There are two problems with what you're proposing. The first is, in order to actually create a planned community, you're talking a good decade. It took Disney decades to create Celebration Florida, and they had been working on it for decades before that. Okay, they were. The second is that absolutely no modern urban planner in their right mind would even think about trying to create a community centered around cars. Modern urban planning tries to get rid of the cars. Cars are an absolute, even with driverless cars, they are an absolutely horrible use of resources.
But
Driverless cars make it better.
But Alan, back up. These could almost be like glorified golf carts. I mean, these can be very small. Again, they only need one seat, right? And
It's still a horrible. It's a horrible use of resources.
No, what you need is public transportation. You need a driverless bus. Or
well, but that
a
depends on how
driverless
far
train.
you're going,
or,
Pam.
Or a driverless Hyperloop. Once again, we circle back to Elon Musk.
That's right, vacuum tubes, like the banks. When you go to the drive-in or drive-through at the bank, and you stick
Well,
your.
we could also ride something called a Segway.
Yeah, if a Segway can go 70 miles an hour.
We're
That'd be
not
great.
talking about going that far, Pam. We're talking about just around a community. We're not talking about
Which
going,
is not-
going
yeah,
that
but,
far. You need the Hyperloop.
I mean, imagine how much communities would save if there no DUIs, no speeding tickets.
Dan,
mean,
it's
no,
really
the community
Dan,
needs that
Dan,
money.
Dan. If I get rid of the roads, I'll solve that problem.
Yeah, you guys live in really small states, except for maybe Alan and Anthony. But California it's an 11-hour drive from Tijuana to what
That's where
Eureka.
you need the Hyperloop, Pam. You need the Hyperloop to go that distance. We're talking about local, just around your little village, as we're talking about the electric cars. For going long distances, that's where you need that tube.
The Model S.
I feel like a hamster already.
Model S won't even go that far.
Anyway, moving on.
Move on.
I think we agree.
Once
Do
again,
we have any more
Oh
topics?
Lord, Pam, we have so many more topics.
What? Could you try adding them before 2 p.m. on Friday?
I could try, but I'd fail.
All right, so Scroogled is next, right?
Take over, Pam. Take over for me.
We have a Microsoft Scroogled update.
Troll Ellen for you.
Dan asked for this one. I had
Okay.
originally left it out. But on this one, apparently Scroogled has released yet another ad campaign, which is even more obnoxious and erroneous than the last one. Focusing on Google, on Gmail's latest changes involving the tabs. Has everyone gotten the new tabbed inbox? Does everyone know what I'm talking about
Yes.
when I talk
Yeah.
about it?
Yes.
Apparently, they're trying to raise the issue with some text material and some videos that talk about how now in your inbox, Google will be depositing advertisements that will look just like advertisements of your email. But it's only going to be it's coming straight from Google, and there are some problems with this. For starters, they kind of omit the fact that these advertisements will be showing up in a tab that's labeled promotions. So it's showing up in the tab that's reserved for advertising. And it omits the fact that these advertisements are pretty clearly labeled as advertisements from Google. So Dan, you're the big anti-Scroogler. What's your thoughts on this latest development?
It's more sleaze from Microsoft. This is their game. It would be like if we do our show, our Android Week, which obviously Craig is not involved in because he's an iPhone user, but we're still on speaking terms. It would be like if I said he was evil and ran TV commercials because I was upset that he was competing in my time zone. This is so obviously bullshit. And to any intelligent person, they would realize that Microsoft is being disingenuous. And what is especially
here's the problem,
ironic
though,
is
Dan.
that they're a tech company, and that that implies intelligence. So not only are they being disingenuous, but they and everyone involved in Microsoft would know that they're being disingenuous. And I think
Dan, here's the thing. It's not just that they're being disingenuous. They're lying. They
yeah,
are out,
I got to
they're-
tell you, if
they're
Steve
outright
Ballmer,
lying.
if
They are telling
Steve Ballmer
falsities.
approves, Steve Ballmer's aware of this. They're doing this. So if his demise is imminent, then good, because he's a lying son of a bitch. And I'm disgusted with Microsoft. I'm a former fan, and I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm absolutely disgusted that they do this stuff. They troll Google because if you can't innovate, litigate. It's like that. This is disgusting. They lie, and Microsoft is better than that, and or should be better than that. And so the quicker they get rid of Steve Ballmer, the better, because this is absolute bullshit, and it pisses me off when they just make stuff up and lie. And Microsoft should not be lying. I mean, their non-executive chairman is out there trying to save the world with his mosquito nets and curing diseases. Good for him. And I applaud that, and I'm a huge fan. But at the same time, I'm absolutely disgusted, infuriated, and pissed off that they make up nonsense that is they're gearing at morons who don't understand any better. And
Dan,
So
and this
it
is
just pisses me off.
Your rant is all about the fact that Microsoft is claiming that that Google's going to add ads to Gmail.
yes.
Okay.
What the audience can't see is that Pam is looking befuddled.
Yeah, they can see it. The whole thing is this is beneath Microsoft. This is like some startup trying to gain publicity. I mean, this is not the behavior you would expect of a major worldwide, international tech company. This is sleazy bullshit stuff. It pisses me off, and this is why
Tell us
I've
how you
lost
really
all
feel,
affection.
Dan.
I remember when Alan, you remember when the Surface was first introduced? We did I think we did a special broadcast on it, right? Or we highlighted it on Google Plus Week, and I was all excited. I was like, I'm really excited about this. This is a great, it's like the Transformer Prime sort of thing, but it's gonna have. I'll be able to do full programs on it instead of just like the dumbed down programs that we settle for on our mobile devices. And then they started this Scroogle campaign, which is just basically a lie factory, trying to foster, bullshit to stupid people. And I'm like, this is beneath Microsoft. Why in the hell are they doing this? And I'm just so disgusted. If I saw Steve Ballmer right now, I could punch him in the fucking face. I mean, I'm really. It just makes me mad that that they would stoop to this level. And if he's going to leave, then so be it. Good for Microsoft. Good for the shareholders. I think one guy made a comment that Steve Ballmer's net worth, jumped by hundreds of millions of dollars as soon as they announced that he was leaving. So, I guess he'll leave a multimillionaire. Good for him. But this is disgusting. You should win on your merits. People like Elon Musk are who we should celebrate. We should celebrate people who are innovating and creating, and not celebrate people who are trying to tear down the competition. If you walk into a restaurant and the first thing they say is how much their competitor sucks, then you've lost me.
You cover political races. You cover the epitome of tearing down the competitor.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen political ads? They outright lie, cheat, provide all kinds of misinformation. So why does this surprise you so much?
It doesn't
If
surprise
you start
me.
arguing for small government, I'm gonna have
No.
We need to reduce the size of government.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed because I was a Microsoft fan.
I was a Barack Obama fan too till I saw some of those political ads.
I was a Microsoft fan, and then I discovered that they're sleazy, lying bastards, and they're willing to stoop to this. Like, that's a good analogy. Pam Adger is running for city council in Menifee, and she is,
my husband
in
and I
cahoots with,
discussed running.
one
for
time
city council.
she did a Google search for something naughty, and
just the hairy man community would.
do you want her to be the
would bar me
councilwoman for your children to look up to? No. This ad was paid for by, Steve Ballmer. I'm an asshole in Seattle. No, I'm just saying, like, yeah, your analogy is apt, and it shouldn't be a race to the bottom. The thing is, it's not so much anger and frustration as it is disappointment, because I literally did sing the praises of the whole Surface concept, right? The RT, I think in that show, I think I said that the RT, I thought nobody would buy that. They would wait for the Pro version, right? But nobody wants another dumbed down mobile device. I want to be able to run InDesign, Photoshop, all the things that I do that are desktop oriented on a mobile device. That'd be great. I don't want another dumbed down mobile device where I have to settle for app versions of stuff. Desktop light. And so
have you looked at the bloatware your carrier has put on your phone?
Oh, I mean, where do we begin? I mean, if that Sprint guy was here, I'd punch him too. for multiple reasons. But yeah, I hear you. I just, you know, I just I want honesty and transparency in this digital age where anybody can call anybody out, and if someone's full of crap, we immediately know it, and we can share it, and people will troll them. You know what I mean? How can Microsoft think that they're possibly going to get away with this nonsense? This whole Scroogle campaign is the stupid ass. I mean, it's the Surface RT thing cost them $900 million in real cash, but the Scroogle campaign is equally stupid. Maybe not in a monetary sense, but in a PR sense, it's just dishonest. They are lying bastards, and screw them for doing that. You know, be honest. If you can't beat Google in search, then you know, move on. I don't like people trying to tear other people down, and I'm going to call them on it. You know, so that's what I've done. But Google, Microsoft is just full of crap.
Didn't Apple do the same thing to Google? Wasn't there a bunch of lawsuits? No, it was Apple and Samsung.
Apple
right?
suing Samsung. Apple is suing Google by proxy. I mean, they're suing Samsung and vice versa. You know, so that's a whole thing. But it's just such a stupid campaign. It just, like I said, it's not anger, it's not frustration, it's more disappointment because I'm disgusted by their behavior on so many levels. One, it's disingenuous. It's outright lying, as Alan said. They're sleazy bastards, and it also is stupid because it just shows incompetence. That Steve Ballmer is absolutely incompetent, and the quicker he goes, the better for Microsoft. And hopefully, they can get someone like Marissa Mayer or whoever to come in and run the company in a competent way and bring them back to their glory and give Apple some competition so that we have two players and they can, fight each other and the consumers will win with better products due to the competition. But, you cannot compensate for a failure to innovate by trying to verbally destroy your competition with outright lies. And that's Microsoft's approach. So
Okay, Dan?
it pisses me off, and it's bullshit. And I'll shut up
Dan?
now and let Alan say what he wants to say.
Did you get all of that all out of your system?
I'm done. I had an Alan Furstenberg type
Breathe.
rant.
Yeah.
There,
In fact,
just
we
there.
actually had this comment from Cadeas. Dan is on a rampage tonight. Alan, Dan is taking your spot.
But still,
I think-
Dan is right. See, that's what I'm looking for.
I think
but
I'm
it's
gonna
okay. It's
contact-
okay.
I think
I'm
I'm
just
going to
kidding.
contact Dan's dentist and see if we can get maybe some Valium or Vicodin for the once a week.
The show,
Show.
yeah.
Yeah, because he was great last week.
But you've purged it all out of your system, Dan?
I'm good now.
we
I'm good now.
We're good?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I said several naughty words.
Just a little bit.
All right, so what's next, Mr. Furstenberg or Dr.
Next we
I'm
start
sorry,
to rock,
Dr.
so-
Furstenberg. I apologize.
Next, we start to talk about how on Tuesday night show, which is our Android week, usually on Monday night, but we're going to be having it this week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We're going to be talking about some Android-related topics, shockingly enough. So we'll be talking about how Google Keep has been updated. Latest version's out. It's available. And we're also going to be talking about some of the updates that have come out on Google Now. So if you're interested in Android or interested in other advanced technologies along those lines, tune in Tuesday night this week or next week to our Android week.
Can
And
you
with that-
remind me? Sorry. Can you
Go ahead.
remind me what the minimum Android build is for Google Now?
Google Now first appears on as part of Android 4.1.
Okay.
It was a Jelly Bean feature.
Okay.
So Dan, how was your Google Plus week?
My Google Plus week was busy. I was less engaging than usual because we had some personnel issues, and I was thrust into doing stuff that I hadn't done for a while, but so I was busy. But yeah, it was good. It was I had some good, the basic stuff. I had some good conversations with folks, and nothing spectacular that stands out. I guess I'm going to give you an Anthony Clouser response here, but a little more poetic, I suppose.
Okay then, Pam, how was your week?
My week was great.
Can you elaborate?
We're on a
little?
roll. We're on a roll.
I booked a flight to go to San Francisco on my birthday, over my birthday, and I'm going to get, well, tentatively, I'm going to get a tour of the Google facility while I'm there and hang out with some Google Plus women that I'm friends with, and it should be fun.
Awesome. Anthony Clouser, how was your Google Plus week?
Well, I think I've spent like 15 minutes on Google Plus this week. I don't know. I go through these spurts where I'll use Google Plus a lot, and then I'll use Facebook a lot, and then I'll use both of them, equally. Been doing a lot of Facebook recently, actually. So I know for a lot of you people, Dan especially, and actually Craig uses it, Facebook a lot, but Dan, he's probably like giving me this glare of Facebook. The president visited Buffalo yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And made a very, very quick stop for lunch in Rochester, and then carried on to Syracuse. So, I don't know. I guess a lot of people get excited about the president, coming even, by, much less, actually stopping in town.
Any behind the scenes stuff there? Like, did you see motorcades or blockades or any anecdotal stuff that you want to share with us that we haven't heard?
I didn't personally. Obviously, I looked at the newspaper this morning. They shut down the highway for however long they shut that down to, get them. They went through I-90 from Buffalo to Rochester, and then the local 490 they shut down.
Any of your friends or colleagues
nothing,
share anything that was interesting about that?
On Facebook, people were complaining about, roads being closed and not being able to get into Park Ave area where the restaurant was that he visited. I think pretty much typical, the president's here and he's causing, all these inconveniences. But if you're lucky enough to be, on Park Ave and, catching a glimpse of the president, whether you're Barack Obama, hater or lover, it stops mattering, and you're like, there's the president of the United States, and he's in my town.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you love or hate or whatever. When POTUS's motorcade is driving through your town, waving at you, that's pretty cool. You're on the map.
I guess this isn't actually a big deal. I know it's not a big deal, but I'm looking at pictures of the motorcade, which looked to me very small, based on what I've seen in the past. But I'm looking for the limo, the presidential limo, and he wasn't in a limo. He was in a big bus, I guess.
I was going to say, wasn't it a bus
presidential
tour?
Bus? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bus.
So I don't know. It just seems strange to me, and again, probably isn't, but so strange that the president's traveling in the motorcade, and he's not in his heavily armored limo. And I'm sure
he's in the heavily armored bus.
I'm sure the bus is just as good, if maybe not better, but it's
yeah. Normally they have three limos.
At least in my mind, I never have this picture of the motorcade with a big bus in it.
Yeah.
So
go ahead, Alan.
We had for you, Dan. First of all, we had this comment from Kevin Bryan. Just for you, Dan. Dan is right. There you go.
Yeah, that's on full screen now.
You got it.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
Kevin, you're my favorite viewer this week. Alan, how was your Google Plus week?
It was freaking awesome. I had an absolutely incredible week.
We in the new 90,000 square foot Best Buy Google Glass.
No, it's got nothing to do with that. The glassware that I'm developing is creeping towards being ready. So hopefully next week I'll be getting that out to a wider distribution. And I got some very good news from my publisher this week, so that was very exciting stuff. So the book that that Jason Salas and I are working on, Think and Glass, Discover, Design, Develop, is progressing nicely, and we're really, really looking forward to getting it out.
And you can be rest assured, we will be whoring that book out at least as much as I've been whoring out my sister's book.
Yeah, you better.
Absolutely. All right, so good for them. So, all right, so we got everybody right.
I don't know. Is Tariq
I can't
actually
see the-
alive?
All right, interrupt me if we haven't. So awesome. Thanks so much to everybody. And our
Dan,
Android.
my Google Plus week. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Sri, go ahead.
He is
Sri.
alive.
My kids probably went to sleep early a little bit, so 12 o'clock in Eastern time. Anyway, so what was that? Yeah, I decided to be the interior designer for Dan. So that is how my Google Plus week was. Generally, I was a bit busy. I wanted to ask this post Dan made like a while ago about how you can share posts from Google Plus automatically to Twitter, or some friends plus me posted something. Has anybody else got a tool which can do that? Because that tool is actually charging money now. And somebody makes a comment on the Dan post from like a year ago, and I get to see it again. But do you know of any tool which we can use? Automatically posting to Facebook or Twitter or anything?
There are others, but Friends Plus Me is the best.
Okay.
I know the guy, and I did that
know him.
post about it, and it went viral. And in fact, when I posted about it, it was shared so much that it actually shut down his site.
Huh.
And it went down for like a couple days. And I apologized profusely to the guy. I was like, I'm sorry. I talked about it on the show, and I posted this thing, and it crashed his site. But they fixed it, and it is a fee plan now because he has expenses that he's incurring.
Are you a subscriber?
But I can tell you that I actually pay. I mean, I'm actually a paid subscriber to him, so I like it. There's another one, I forget what it is. I used to use, and I didn't like it. I can't remember why. But I think there's only a couple. It's like there's Friends Plus Me, and there's I don't remember the other one. But
Underestimated. It sounds like the guy actually underestimated your clout on Google Plus, right?
I mean, it was like ridiculous. It was like several days that he was shut because they crashed. Because I shared it, and then it went on the What's Hot list, and then Mike Elgin shared it, and then it was it was crazy. It was like because people want that. They want to be able to originate a post in one place and move it to others. Now, some folks don't like that. That's a whole separate topic. But so anyway, what are you eating?
I'm eating chicken hot dogs and so on. Sausages, chicken sausages.
You should be
I'm gonna-
eating some nice curry. I'm sitting here craving like a chicken curry dish, and there you are with all the skills, and you're eating some, freaking frozen Walmart crap.
Well, I drank a bunch of, I don't know how many beers, and today was a Friday night out in the city. I just got home, and I'm just eating whatever I got here.
See, you squander your skills.
Yeah.
You throw away your skills. Here I am, wanting, and you're, not caring. All right, so folks, thank you so much for watching Google Plus Week. We appreciate it. We are the longest running show on Google Plus, an unofficial look at the world's coolest social network, even if we have to do it in multiple pieces. Huh?
Longest in terms of number of hours as well as how long it's been running.
Both.
Okay.
Both. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. We appreciate it. And we'll be back on not Monday, but Tuesday for our Android week. That's Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we'll be back Friday at 8:30-ish, right? 8:30-ish?
8:30.
8:30.
If Dan wakes up.
On the nose. 5:30 p.m. Pacific for on Friday for Google Plus Week. So we thank you very much, and we wish you and your loved ones a happy farewell. Thanks so much. All right. So
Did you follow up on the website, Dan?
Tariq, hang on, don't say anything.